What's up, Buttercups? It's me, Amy Young, and I'm coming at you with a Friday freestyle on the topic of self-acceptance, confidence building, loving yourself, all this stuff that's, supposed to be super important, but a lot of us really struggle with it. Ooh, what's that all about? Well, wrote a blog post about it, which is part of what inspired this video today. So if you want to check that out after the video, go down and you can click the link below and read the blog post. Last night I was checking my email and I got an alert that someone had commented on the blog, and I don't always get these email alerts, and I clicked into it and I was like, oh, what's this person have to say? And this lovely gentleman wrote this really nice comment, essentially saying, Amy, this is great. I get what you're saying, and I appreciate the message, but I don't know how to do that. Because the blog post is really kind of about how I think we all need to change how we think about increasing confidence. And that confidence isn't actually about constantly telling yourself how great you are and building yourself up, especially when you don't really feel like you're that great. It's more about releasing all of the pressure and expectation for how great you think you should be. So it's about being being more comfortable with how great you're not. So it's making peace with the fact that maybe you're kind of awkward, or maybe you're really, really bad at, oh my gosh, so many possibilities, so many reasons why we hold ourselves back from feeling like we can just be comfortable in our own skin. Read the blog post. I don't want to go into detail about it here, but so this reader commented and he was like, how do I do that? How do any of us do that? For so many of us who really struggle with self-acceptance, just kind of offering this change is nice, but I need a practical thing. And I was like, of course you need a practical thing, because we all need help in figuring this stuff out. And I say this in my videos all the time. It's if I said everything that I wanted to say about step by step, this is how you can do this. First of all, it would be impossible because everybody's different and your how-to is going to be very different than anybody else's how-to. Secondly, these videos and blog posts would be pages and hours long. So thank you to lovely reader if you're out there. And I commented back with, a few sort of helpful questions and things to sit with and do some writing on, so that he could kind of get started not knowing anything about his situation, which you can also go read. That might be a great sort of helpful how-to tip in. But one particular question or piece of guidance that I offered him that I really want to highlight on this video today is that if you want to make any kind of change, if you want to change a habit, if you want to change how you're thinking about something, if you want to step into a new way of being in your life, you want to accept yourself more, you want to be kinder to yourself, you want to love yourself more, even the parts of you that are really unlovable when you're used to telling yourself that you suck, or you're unworthy, or oh my God, no one is ever gonna pick you or want to be with you, you're lucky that you have friends, you're gross. We tell ourselves some pretty nasty, awful things. Most of us, anyway. And letting that go can be hard because it's a habit, like anything else. A pattern of thought, a cycle that you're trapped in mentally, or a feeling habit, like an emotional habit of not accepting yourself or self-loathing. It's a habit like anything else. Smoking is a habit. So it's tricky to undo it and to put a new habit in place. And two of the most important questions that you can answer for yourself if you're wanting to just get started and you don't know how. So I'm going to use the example of, okay, I want to start accepting myself more. I want to introduce more self-love into my life. The first place that I would start is to ask, okay, well, what's important about self-acceptance to me? Why does accepting myself even matter? Because a lot of us walk around with these ideas of well, I read it in a book, or I read this Instagram post, or I know it's important. I know loving myself is important, but we don't actually consider, well, why is it actually important to me in my life? Because you've been living thus far and probably succeeding to a certain extent. You're still here, you're surviving without all of that. So to suddenly introduce this new idea of like, I'm gonna accept myself more, I'm gonna love myself more, it's like you have to sort of build a case and convince yourself this is worth it. This is important. Not just because somebody told me to or because I read about it in a book, but because I can see the benefits that it would create in my life. Are you with me so far? Really hope so. So I almost liken it to if I was with a small child and we had to get out of the house and he didn't want to put his shoes on, right? If I tell him, you need to put your shoes on, he might look at me and say, no, I don't want to. Why? Why? And if my only response is, well, because you have to, because I said so, because people wear shoes, not super compelling to that small child who's very wise, who's like, no, I need like rational, thoughtful evidence that this is going to be a worthwhile thing for me to do because I don't want to put on my shoes. I'm gonna have to come up with some better reasons that will make him want to put his shoes on, right? So like, well, it's very cold outside and there's snow on the ground. And if you don't have shoes on, your feet are gonna get really cold and wet in the snow and you're gonna hate how that feels. It'll hurt. Oh my gosh, you have to put some shoes on. We better go get you some socks so that we can make sure your feet are really warm. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Why else? Sometimes people litter, you know, like they'll throw like a cigarette on the ground or something, or sometimes there's broken glass. And can you imagine if you were walking around and suddenly you stepped on broken glass? Holy guacamole, you don't want to do that. Whoa, suddenly this little kid is like, shoes are important. Maybe I do need to put my shoes on. Maybe like it would be really bad if I don't put my shoes on. We are the same way. We need compelling, rational evidence to support something that we want to do or that we feel is important to us, because some part of us is adverse to it. Some part of me is like, no, you know, like actually like this whole self-love thing, like it's a cute idea. I get it's important, but I can't really see why. So really, this is about like sitting with yourself in inquiry and going, okay, like what's important about loving myself? What about that like actually connects with me on an emotional level, on a like daily life scale? What's gonna change? Like, why is that gonna be so much better for me to love myself, for me to accept myself? It's really hard to have these conversations with yourself. That's why I always suggest like doing free writing and journaling on it. And that's what I said in this, you know, comment back was like, you're gonna have to sit with it. That's why people invest in coaching and do work one-on-one, because it's really helpful to actually be able to like speak it out with another person who knows what they're doing. And that's why coaches invest in working with other coaches, because it's really, really hard to do this stuff on your own. I get that. And that doesn't mean that you don't do it though. But that doesn't mean that you don't try. Because if you're sitting back and just saying, well, I don't know how to do it, I just don't know how, so I can't, well, I'm giving you a way in. Identify what's important to you, why you want to do it in the first place, what's going to change as a result. Like, these are the questions that you can ask yourself that'll start kind of getting you on board with wanting to make this change. Create compelling arguments that connect with you emotionally. It's gonna drive you more and more in that direction. And then you'll start, you know, filling in the blanks of, okay, how do I do that? What does it look like? You know, that can't really come until you're really, really open to the idea and it's something you really wanna do. This is getting long. I'm gonna say goodbye. Don't forget, link is in the description box. While you're there, if you wanna sign up for my mailing list, I would love to visit your inbox every friggin' Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this struck a chord and that you all are just having the best time and just, you know, doing your best and letting that be enough for today. It's all we can do. All right, was that sappy and hokey enough? I think so. Love you. Until next time. Because how many times have you gotten your hopes up and then had them dashed against the raggedy rocks? No, you cannot get caught up in another ring around the relationship disaster. This guy is guilty until proven innocent, okay?